This week, just 6 Republican presidential candidates are left. 5 who I think have a shot at winning. Trump, Rubio, Cruz, Bush, and Kasich. I left out Ben Carson because the betting odds, which are the best predictor of things that will happen, give Carson less than a 1% chance of winning. So tonight, we focus on the leading 5. At election time, I think the media obsess about wrong things, trivial things. Who insulted whom? Who misspoke at the debate? Who's gaining? Who's losing? Who cares? Those day-to-day changes are not the important stuff. What's important is freedom, prosperity, security. Which candidate is likely to bring us that? And who has the best ideas, or at least the least bad ideas? Tonight on this show, we'll devote a segment to each candidate. I'll grill some of their supporters. But before we get to that, let's get the big libertarian picture from someone who's wise about politics, Reason Magazine editor Matt Welch. So, Matt, of those left standing from a libertarian point of view, is there any good news?
No, the good news is only that libertarians are where they always are, which is on the outside looking in and talking about values and policies rather than personalities. Ever since Rand Paul left the campaign, I don't think that there has been any individual whose affections are going to be winning over the planet libertarian. There are
Rand Paul wasn't doing so well either.
No, among libertarians. He was polling at 3% nationwide for half a year, so it's not like he was lighting the world on fire.
7 years ago, Reason ran an article written by you about the libertarian moment.
Yeah,
it hasn't come.
It was written, actually it has come in many ways. That article was written right after the financial crisis, right after George W. Bush said, normally I love capitalism, but. So there was absolutely no glimmer of hope electorally in the national political conversation about libertarianism. We argued then that anything that happens on a libertarian front will happen to politics last because they have a guaranteed revenue stream, right? They don't get to go out of business like Kodak and Fujifilm went out of business. They still suck all our money. However, wherever
in the private sector, the best of life, libertarian ideas and actions are flourishing.
Yes, we can individualize, tailor, customize our lives, and we apply that to politics in places where we are allowed to. So you've seen this happen. We've seen marijuana legalized in now a half a dozen states. We've seen gay marriage legalized in this country, stuff that we didn't think was possible. So I think when people talk about the libertarian moment and poo-poo it, and I get it, they're having a good time right now, they're trying to make the entire conversation about presidential politics, and that is not the entire conversation of American life.
And most of life is not about that.
Thank God.
But the rest of this show is.
Yes,
so let's talk about the last men standing. I'm going to rank them in order of where they are in the odds to win the nomination, but you rank them how a libertarian would rank them. Who's best?
Ted Cruz of the field, I guess. It's not that I'm going to vote for the man, but he has the combination of not as much of an interventionist militarily as Marco Rubio, John Kasich, Jeb Bush. He lines up with Rand Paul somewhat on surveillance issues, on criminal justice issues. Too much of a social conservative and not trustworthy, but is a pretty good fiscal conservative.
Who's second?
Marco Rubio. I have my 2 through 5 are kind of just a gormless mess of people I don't want to see.
On your list, you put Bernie Sanders third.
Sure, yeah. I mean, in many ways, Bernie Sanders has the most libertarian positions on marijuana, which he'd like to get the federal government out of, on a lot of sentencing reform issues. He's now better than Ted Cruz on those types of things. He's less of an interventionist.
But he's still third ahead of Kasich and Bush and Trump? In your list?
Ahead of Trump, that's not a hard one.
Kasich, why are you so anti-Trump? He's leading. Lots of Republicans think, hey, he's speaking up for me.
He wants to deport U.S. citizen-born children of illegal immigrants. That's crazy. He wants to ban Muslims, temporarily, mind you, coming into the United States. That's crazy. That's not just like it's going a little bit too. No, that's crazy. That's fundamentally anti-American. He wants to slap 45% tariffs on goods from China. He wants to punish Ford for building factories in Mexico using authority that he does not have as president, because you can't just rip up any presidential or international treaty like that. He's a danger.
But he's the front runner. Thank you, Matt.